Hey guys, this is Steve from Cookout Coach. We're all about trying to help you take your barbecue to the next level, no matter what you need. But today, we're going to be doing something a little bit different. When I need to take my barbecue to the next level, I got to look to somebody who knows a lot more than I do. And today, we've got one of those people with me. We've got Will Hare from the two-time back-to-back MBM Team of the Year team, Smoke Masters, and also from the YouTube channel, Queuing with Uncle Woo. Will, how you doing tonight?
Doing great, Steve.
Great. Now, did I get anything wrong there?
No, man, you're right.
Queuing with Uncle Woo.
Yeah, that's it.
I love that name. How'd you come up with that?
Well, my niece, I've got she's 17 now, but 17 years ago or 16 years ago, I guess, she was just starting talking, and she couldn't pronounce the L's in Will, so I became Uncle Woo, and it kind of stuck. She, her dad, my brother, is friends and was on my barbecue team, is on my barbecue team, and all those guys heard her call me Uncle Woo one day, and I'll never get away from it now. Not that I want to. I love it. It's a great nickname.
There you go. That's how those things happen. Well, since we went ahead and started talking about family and your current barbecue team, let's tell me a little bit about how you got into barbecue in the first place.
Well, that's a great story. My team consists of anywhere from 12 to 15 guys, depending on what time you catch us at. And about, I guess it's been about 12, 13 years ago now, back in 2007, we were all sitting around a poker table one night, doing what guys do when they sit around and play poker, and, few beers too many. And we decided that, hey, we'd start a barbecue team. And, being from Memphis in May is a huge event down here. I mean, it's a huge event for everybody, but locally you get guys that, they throw some crazy parties down there. And if you've ever been, I'm sure that they're comparable to the ones that you see at any of the other large contests. But we had all grown up around it, through parents and family and friends and all that. And we decided it'd be a great idea to start a team. So that's what we did. We grabbed a couple of the local smaller contests around here. We actually started with one that was called Tennessee Fun Fest. It was the Tennessee State barbecue championship in that time. That contest has since gone away, like a lot of them have. But we sat around the house a couple weekends, cooked some ribs, decided that competition barbecue was a great thing to get into. And we jumped head on into it at the Tennessee Fun Fest and finished dead last.
The thing about finishing dead last is there's only two ways to go. That's either straight up or sideways.
Yeah, there you go. You either give it up and quit, or you get better the next time. And luckily, we bounced around with it for a few years. I guess we cooked 8 or 9, 10 years before we actually started doing really well. You do what everybody does in the league. You learn from the guys around you, and you take a class here, talk to somebody here, pick up the tips and tricks, and take a judge's class and figure out what the judges and the events are actually looking for. And that's, to this day, that's the advice I give most people when they say, hey, I'm new to competition barbecue and I want to know what's the one thing I can do that's going to up my game the quickest. And I'll tell everybody, go take a judge's class, figure out what they want, figure out what they're looking for. And it helps. It helped us immediately. And then we took a few classes, took one from Mark West at 10 Bones Barbecue. At that point, we were cooking ribs, and Mark's a world-renowned rib cook. And then took another from Melissa Cookston, who needs no introduction. We took one from her and her husband Pete down in Olive Branch, and that very next contest we got our very first final. So that was the one that did it for us.
There you go. So judges class and classes for fellow competitors to give yourself that leg up to get into it.
That's how we did it. I'm not going to say it's the only way to do it, but that's definitely how we did it.
Absolutely. So you started back then, but something happened in 2007. What happened between 2017 and last year that made you decide to kick it up and run for those points for Team of the Year? Not one year, but back-to-back years.
Yeah, we had been bouncing around, like I had said before. through various years, cooking 4, 5, 6 contests a year. And as teams do, we started having guys drop off for one reason or another, new jobs, kids getting into sports and other activities, scouts, all that kind of good stuff. And as parents, it takes more of your time. Well, the only children I have are 4-legged, so they don't play soccer or baseball or anything. So barbecue is my I don't know, passion is the way I like to think about it. Hobby, curse if you ask my wife. But we had started doing real well, and we were sitting at, me and my wife and 2 other team members were sitting at a banquet in 2016. It's called the Cue Ball. It's the banquet that the NBN throws at the end of every year. And that's where they announce, where the points race ended, and they give out the awards for, the top 10. And back then they even gave out awards for top 20. Well, we were right outside the top 10. And the guys that beat me out for the higher spots and for the first, second, and third team of the year spots were guys that I had cooked against all year. And I'd beaten them, several of them, and gotten beat by several of them. But I looked at the list and I said, the only thing that's separating me from these guys is the fact that they're not cooking as much as I'm cooking, or I'm not cooking as much as they're cooking. So I was cooking 4, 5, 6 contests a year where they were cooking all 15, 16, 17, whatever the number happened to be. So I looked at my wife and I said, look, I want to start doing this full bore. I'm going for team of the year next year. I said, I'm not going to sit here next year and be the, 12th or 13th ranked team and watch guys go up on stage that I know that I can compete with every day. So we started hitting it hard. The next year we were third place. We were the third place hog team. And I had that similar conversation with my wife sitting at that table again and said, this is the last time I'm going to sit here without going for team of the year hardcore. And the very next year we were after, the way the NBN does it, there's a hog team of the year, a shoulder team of the year, and a rib team of the year in all 3 categories. The highest point structure in each one of those categories gets overall team of the year. Well, we were shooting for hog team of the year. That's what we wanted because that was what we were after. And in 2018, it just so happened that we beat out the rib team and the shoulder team of the year by, I think it was a small margin, 2 or 3 points, and landed our very first team of the year. Luckily, last year, the chips fell good again, came down to the end of the year, and we were in the grasp of it. So we ended up going to the Big Pig Jig, which was the last contest of the year last year, and got a perfect score in ribs, which was great, but it wasn't the points we were after. We took 5th place in hog. I think we came in 16th or 17th in shoulder, and out of 38 teams, and then we were second in ribs. So that 5th in hog ended up giving us the last of the points we need to push us over the top. So we did score team of the year back-to-back 18 and 19. So it's been a good run so far. I'm hoping if 19 ever gets back on track, 20 ever gets back on track, that we'll be in the running again. But that it's anybody's game, and the advantage for us was being able to cook a lot of different contests. In 18 we had 3 grands. In 19 we only had 1. And there were teams out there that had a lot more grand champions over that season than we did, but we were consistently top 3 in the last 7 or 8 contests of that year. I think we only had 2 competitions last year that we didn't final, and that was what did it for us. That was what kept us in the running and kept us in the points race. So Gotcha. It worked out well.
Apparently so, with that hardware on the wall behind you there.
Well, it's if you're going to be on the video and both your neighbors are outside cutting grass, it's not a bad place to sit.
Not bad at all. You bring up something really interesting, and that is the whole aspect of competition hog cooking. Now, as far as I know, NBN is the only sanctioning body where you can actually compete at cooking hog. And And if not mistaken, you cook hog when you cook Memphis in May. So
Yeah.
it's
I'm not
it's
100% sure, but I think GBA still does hog too.
okay.
Don't quote me on that, but I think they have. It may not be one of their standard categories, but I think they do a couple of hog competitions as well. I know it's big down in Dooley, where in Vienna, where we cooked at Pig Jig. They've got a lot of hog teams down there, and they're primarily a GBA organization.
Gotcha. So other than the I guess the heritage or the big dog and pony show that comes with cooking a hog and the process that is, what made you want to go after hog team of the year specifically and also compete in the hog category at Memphis in May?
Well, hog was what we had started back in. We started as a rib team back in 2007, and we had bounced around ribs and done well, done poor. Been back and forth several times. And what moved me to hog at Memphis in May was the competition. In ribs, there's anywhere from 120 to 130 rib teams. Don't quote me on that number, but it's real close to that. And I think last year there were 38 hog teams. So there's a big level of quantity of competition anyway. Now, I'm not going to say that you've got, better teams in rib than you do in hog, because obviously you're big, you're Melissa Cookston, you're Meyer Mixon, the rest of the names escape me, but there's a lot of the big name cooks down there are the Shed. They're all hog teams. So by joining, by entering in hog, you're joining into a smaller group of competition, but the level is a lot higher. The level of people you're cooking against is a lot higher. But honestly, it's just over the years, it's been what I've been good at. There are guys on my team that cook a lot better rib than I do. I'm getting better, but my hog is where I hang my hat, and it just happened that way. We started cooking Compart hogs in I want to say about 2010, and actually picked them up as a sponsor in 2018. So Mr. Jim and Jim Compart, Dan Compart, the guys up there, they put out a top-notch product. It's absolutely, as far as I've found it, it's unmatched in the industry. So that's what we cook, and that's been what's been winning for us. So hog's where we're staying for right now. You may catch us in rib here again soon, but at Memphis in May, it'll be hog as long as we can, make it keep happening.
Very cool. And another interesting thing is you cook a running style hog. When I first saw the pictures of you cooking those, I did not expect to see a running style hog, but there it was.
Yeah, and I caught a lot of flack from that from a lot of guys in the first few years that I did it. When I started hitting it, we went through the story of team members falling off and our ranks dropping down. It's gotten to be where it's me and two or three other guys now. But when I started hitting it hard every weekend, it just, I've lost it, Steve. I lost where we were talking about.
That's all right. Actually, just thinking about it right now, the fact that you cook a running style hog,
running style was where I was confused. The guys that were cooking against me when we started hitting it every weekend would always come over and look at that cooker and be like, why the runner? And my answer to them has always been, it's easier to cook on its back. It's easier to cook in that bowl because you've got all those juices sitting there. But for MBN style cooking, for presentation style cooking, which Memphis May happens to be presentation style cooking too, we're not just turning in a blind box. In the MBN, you turn in a blind box to start with, but if you rank top 3 out of those blind box turn-ins, you go to a finals round. And in a finals round, you have 4 judges come to your tent for a visual finals presentation. So they actually get up on the trailer in front of my cooker, and I'll tell them, all about what we cooked and how we cooked it, and show them the cooker and show them the hog, and then take them down to the table and feed them. Well, the running style hog presents much, much, much better than a hog cooked on its back. it still looks like a hog. It's easier for judges, and every organization has this struggle. Judges are not out here doing this every weekend well, let me rephrase that. Some of these judges are not out here doing this every weekend like we are. So when you can bring them up on a trailer and show them a hog that still looks like a hog and explain to them, you're going to be eating portions of the shoulder, the loin, and the ham, and here they are. Whereas cooking on its back, you have to say, you're going to be eating portions of the shoulder, the loin, and the ham. And on the hog, when it used to be, standing upright, those pieces would be here, here, and here. But now they're here, and you have to reach up underneath the rib cage and pull that loin out. It's harder for a judge who isn't as well versed in the anatomy of a hog, for lack of a better phrase, to understand exactly where all that stuff's coming from. And when we started cooking hog, running style was what we learned. I mentioned that class we took from Melissa. That's what she cooks. That's how we learned to cook hog, and that's kind of just what I've always stuck with. But that's my argument for when people tell me that runners don't work. That's the answer I'll give them. Now, if I was doing a hog shootout where it was just a blind box turn in, straight up, nobody's ever going to see it on the cooker, I might cook a runner. Because it's easier to pack more flavor in there, and it's easier to pack more rubs and injections and open places up that are almost impossible to get to when you're cooking running style. When you're cooking in that bowl, you've got a lot of things that are easier to handle. But for the presentation style cooking that we're doing right now, runner's the way I'm going to go.
Gotcha. So here we are into 2019, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Back-to-back team of the year, placed at Memphis in May, as we can see from that trophy right behind you.
Yeah.
Got nothing to prove to nobody, and you decide to jump into the YouTube scene that can be quite a fickle beast.
Yeah.
Let me know what went into that decision.
Well, I had grand ideas going in when we created Queuing with Uncle Woo. It was something that I've been wanting to do for a few years. And the major thing I wanted to do was I wanted to give people that don't generally come to competition barbecue contests to see what we actually do. I get questions from people all the time. So you compete in barbecue. How does that work? Well, I want to be able to show them. I wanted to do videos from the competitions, from the sites, in my prep kitchen, on my cooker, at my judges table. Wanted to show everybody how that worked. And hopefully one of these days when competitions come back, I'll get to. But right now we started out doing some cooks on the back porch and in the kitchen, just trying to get our feet wet and get out there and build an audience. And as you said, it can be tricky. We've learned a lot, and moving forward, things keep growing. So I can't say I'm upset with how it's going so far. It's been fun, if nothing else. So, but my main goal in it when I jumped in it to start with was to kind of shine a light on competition barbecue on my side of it. You see a lot of the KCBS guys doing on-site videos and prep videos and cooking videos, and just the MBN side just doesn't have a lot of that. So I'm looking to fill that void.
Gotcha. And so folks don't know this, but you and I sort of met each other through a mutual friend, and I knew of your competition credentials before I ever. That's my buddy Copper right there.
No, you're good.
But I knew who you were in competition long before I knew you were going to have a YouTube channel. And
Sure.
When my buddy told me that you'd launched your channel,
Mm-hmm.
I said, okay, I'll go check it out, and I'll give him any pointers I can. Honestly, I rolled into that first video, and your production level was far and above anything that I currently do. I'm going to apologize to anybody who's watching this right now. I've got a 5-month-old golden retriever that is just running ramshackle over top of this webcam. There we go. Lay down, Copper. The quality that you came to the game with is just outstanding.
Yeah, I looked and looked and looked for a long time for somebody that could help me with it, because I'll be the first to admit I am not a tech genius. I don't. My wife does a lot of our social media advertising and our sponsor recognition and that kind of thing. I work with it as well as I can, and I'm learning a lot as I move forward. But I wanted somebody that was well versed in video and audio, and you and I have the same problem. I've got a 4-month-old lab under my butt right now. But yeah, the fellow that I found happened to be the niece of mine that gave me the nickname Uncle Woo. It was her boyfriend. Fellow's name is Sam Sykes. Does a fantastic job. If you've ever seen any of my videos, moving forward, every one we do gets. Are we still there? There we go. Sorry, phone rang. But yeah, every time we move forward, the videos move up, and I've been just thrilled with how it's worked so far, and I hope we continue to get better as we move forward. The next few that pop out, I'm afraid you're going to see a drastic drop in production quality, because we're going to be doing a little bit of me filming myself and work with my wife and the people that I can be hands-on with during all of this stay at home, safer at home quarantine, for lack of a better phrase. But I'll still be sending my videos to Sam to give that final polish to. So hopefully it works, and we don't lose any of the fantastic production quality that we've had so far.
I'd put money on the fact you'll be just fine. So let's sort of pause right here. Anybody who hasn't seen Queuing with Uncle Woo's videos, you need to head over to YouTube and check those out, because I'm not kidding. You're learning from a top-tier pitmaster in a video format that looks super professional. It's just over the top. But one thing I do have a question about in those videos is I see you using that Smokemaster's premium barbecue rub. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, that's a rub that we worked on for several years. We rolled it out. I guess it was about 2010 or 2011, and started using it ourselves. And we've never really taken it to market until just here recently. It's a great all-around rub. We use it. It's fantastic on chicken. Of course, it's great on pork. I've used it on beef a few times with a little spicier version underneath it. So there'll be a couple more versions of that coming out here real soon. We've got a salt, pepper, garlic mix that we're going to drop, and a spicy version of our premium rub that we're going to come out with as well as a line of sauce. So there's lots of things in the works on that. Not to take anything away from my sponsors, because obviously if you've looked at my videos or followed us on the competition trail, we're sponsored by Jonesy Barbecue, and the rubs and sauces that Jeff has come out with have just been the linchpin that's kicked us up to a higher level. But we want to be well versed in everything barbecue, so that's part of that is creating your own rubs and sauces and getting those out so that the people who know you can use what you use. So that's what we're working with right now.
Gotcha. Well, we're coming up on a half an hour here, and with this being our first episode of doing this, we haven't even got a name for it yet. I'd like to keep these about a half an hour, but the last question that I've decided I want to ask everybody, because I have a problem with acquiring cookers, as you'll see behind me, this is the most recent edition. So I wanted to ask you, of all the cookers that you own, and you can list them off if you'd like, but what's your favorite?
Oh, wow. That's a tricky question. Of course, as a competition hog, I have to say my backwoods competition hog cooker has always been my favorite. If you're cooking anything more than 50, 60 pounds, but it's kind of hard to fire that thing up for a 10-pound pork butt. So I've got you've seen my videos. I've got a plethora of cookers out there. My favorite would probably be a close tie between the Yoder YF640 and the YS640, excuse me, and the Weber Smoky Mountain. Very, very different ends of the spectrum there. The Yoder's high tech, the Weber is about as low tech as you get, but both phenomenal cookers. I've cooked on Backwoods, I've cooked on Yoder's, I've cooked on the Mark Lambert's piece, the Red Box. I love them all. I've got PK grills out there. I've got Weber kettles, Weber Smoky Mountains. You'll notice that on our YouTube videos, the Weber Smoky Mountain has kind of taken a front line, and that's for one plain and simple reason. It's a very good, steady cooker, and when you take the lid off of it, everything's right there in front of you. Its presentation value is amazing as far as that's concerned, because there's no lid in your way, there's no hinges, no control boxes, anything like that. You take the lid off of it, and wham, everything you want to see is right there. So that's been the one that we've been doing a lot of our filming with. But moving forward, you're going to see a lot of the Yoder. Got some sponsors here in Memphis, BBQ in Memphis, guys down on Summer Avenue, 3100 Summer. They sell quite a bit of the Yoders, and they're providing us with one of the new 640S models, the new Wi-Fi Bluetooth version of what we've been cooking on. So I'm going to start seeing a lot more of that. And you'll probably hopefully get to see a lot more of the Backwoods as we move forward, because that is what we comp cook our hogs and our shoulders and ribs with. Ribs. We do comp cook our shoulders on the Yoder. So moving forward, you'll see a lot more of that in when we get to the stage of competition videos. So
Gotcha.
I danced all around that question. I'm sorry.
I know. What I heard was if you're at home and you're not cooking 50, 60 pounds, your answer is the Smoky Mountain or the Yoder pellet cooker. And I personally love that answer because, I have a problem with acquiring gear. I want every pit out there, and I want to cook on them all. But at the end of the day, your Smoky Mountain, you'll go pick up from any Home Depot.
Yep. You
can cook just as good as Q
and
as anything else.
Yeah. Go to Home Depot, grab you a Smoky Mountain and a couple bags of Royal Oak red bag lump, and man, you're in there. That's about the only problem with the Yoder is I can't fill it full of Royal Oak lump charcoal. So that's about the you got to get the sponsors in there. You got to give them a good nod every time you talk. But that's if you'd asked me 10 years ago if I was going to be a pellet guy, I told you were crazy. But I tell you, man, pellet cooking it's got a lot of versatility to it. So I love that Yoder, but it's hard to beat just for regular old backyard, burning something for dinner. It's hard to beat that Smoky Mountain. So
absolutely. Well, Will, I appreciate you coming out and talking to me tonight. Before we go ahead and head out, why don't you tell the folks where they can find you, all your different platforms, and
Sure.
Where to look out for you.
We're on, of course, Facebook and Instagram at Smoke Masters Barbecue Memphis. Actually spelled out Smoke Masters BBQ Memphis, and that's our email address as well. smokemastersbbqmemphis@gmail.com. If you want to reach out to us for any questions or want to know where you can find any of our stuff, hit us up there. Be glad to answer any questions we can. All of our stuff, rubs and sauces, are right now available commercially at Memphis Barbecue Supply and Grills of Mississippi down in Ridgeland, Mississippi. Those guys do a great shipping business right now. I think they're offering free shipping for anything over $45, I believe. Don't quote me on that. Reach out to Grills of Mississippi. And then, of course, on YouTube, like we talked about, we're at Qin with Uncle Woo. Quein, the little apostrophe there. Qin with Uncle Woo. The Uncle Woo search will usually pull all our stuff up. So check us out, and be sure and subscribe and like and all that good stuff.
Well, fantastic. Well, again, I appreciate you being with me here on the first episode of, I'm thinking about calling it Fireside with the Cookout Coach. I don't know. We'll figure it out. It. But, till next time, thanks for tuning in, everybody, and y'all take it easy.